Spiral, 2 Jews, 2 mics, 2 hours, starting now. I had many bits that I was going to do. One of the bits was going to say, just call me Lou Sid from now on.
Yeah.
Lou Sid. That's not good. I did it, Josh.
You did it. You made the weekend.
Saturday, Sunday, no weed, and no weed next Saturday and Sunday. No weed. That's 2 out of 7 days. Well, I'm 2 days in. I mean, I'm 1/4 normal.
Did you sleep last night?
No.
No, it's tough.
So can you explain that to me, please, what that means? That why I'm having trouble
It's just that
sleeping?
it's because your body is used to having that when you go to sleep. You know, it's like,
oh,
you know,
I see.
I mean, I just feel like sleep is a fragile thing.
So you shouldn't fuck with it, you mean, like, kind of?
Well, no, I mean, it's like,
Oh, no, you're saying
it's
it
like
gets
the
infected.
reason, like, I never start taking sleep aids because I become, like, immediately dependent on them.
Oh, I know. You would be calling me Andy Ambien.
The other thing I found when quitting weed is you dream a lot more, too. Once you do sleep, you start having weird fucking dreams. Or maybe they're regular dreams that you're just not used to having. I'm not sure.
Wait, is this from quitting? Oh, from quitting completely?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't done that yet.
Well,
but I expected myself to be like the scarecrow in, after he gets his diploma.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, my mind is clear. Indubitably, he says. I forget what he says. It's an old movie, but he gets his brain. He doesn't have a brain.
Right.
You understand that?
Sure. Yes.
You know how it works, right? The one guy was a Tin Man. The one guy.
Which
Oil.
guy? Which guy?
Tin Man.
Oh.
And then the lion, funnily enough, or ironically enough, was not brave. He was a cowardly lion. You know, a lot of kids don't know the movie.
He at least had the most reasonable request. It didn't require actual organ transplantation to fulfill his wish.
Are you talking about the diploma?
No, I'm talking about the cowardly lion. I'm saying he could, you can actually get courage, but
Well,
asking a dude for an actual organ is a different request.
Right. But what did the wizard say when he came to the lion? And now there are many lions who, oh God, I'm going to a hand doctor on Wednesday.
Stop, put it down.
So how many reminders do I need? Your hand doctor appointment is Wednesday. Don't forget to pre-check in, which I do. I pre-check in. And when I get there, they say, thank you. You did. You're all set.
I think there's a culture of no-showism now. There
must be. There must be. Like, if I don't show up, what are they going to do? Ism.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine. Also, because I consider myself, I don't think I'm intelligent, but, normal to low intelligence.
I didn't want to jump in. I wanted to see you work it out for yourself.
And I find it difficult to fill out the pre-form.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just annoying. I know it now, but it's like, do you want to learn a new system that you only use a few times a year? It's not that hard. It's not
hard.
It's not hard. Okay.
The infuriating thing is when you do you fill out the pre thing and they still make you fill it out again once you get there.
No, that's the beauty of what I'm doing. That's the beauty. I get in there, they give me a gold star, they go, thank you. You did it. And then I even ask them, how many people don't do it? Or no, I don't do that. But
I've had things where I filled out the thing. I know, but we need you to do it.
I know. That was a nice thing you did. Thank you for helping. But now we have to see it in person. So I woke up today feeling like, I thought I would, the other thing, all things that are not going to happen. That all of a sudden I would get up this morning, I'd be, ba 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 boo, ba ba boo. Okay, my dad used to wake up like that. Ba ba bum, boo ba boo. He was like by 6 a.m.
Yeah. Horrible.
Well, it was good for him. He had to get up early.
Right. I suppose it's better than being a dread machine every day.
Because he
just turn it off. Just put it on silent, for fuck's sake.
No, you know why I'm not doing it?
Because you're an asshole.
Later on, I'll forget. And I'm an asshole. But I don't want to. What if I miss an important showbiz call after this?
I'll take the hit.
Meanwhile, over at your place, you have every 20 minutes, hi, this is Josh. I'm not here right now. Please leave. You've got people coming to the door. You've got the phone ringing off the hook. A lot of times you go, excuse me. You'll go talk to Allison for 15 to 20 minutes, come back. And all of a sudden I do one thing and, I'm the bad guy.
No, you're the asshole.
I'm the asshole.
Yes.
I don't know why that never, I had a lot of bits I thought would catch up, like catchphrase bits. Like, if you've had, this is a guy who I worked with once. If you drink a bottle of scotch and you vomit on yourself, you might, and he was like a redneck. Uh-huh. You might just have had too much to drink. Too much to drink. And I had to follow him. And that's why Wendy Curtis, I'll say her name, wouldn't book me because I wasn't able to follow the guy who went, you're too drunk. I don't think that was what he was saying. Then you know you're drunk. Yeah. The whole audience would go, then you know who.
Well,
or,
it's hard to falter if you can't follow a shitty middle. Well,
I would very, very disagree with you on that.
We're only going to have shitty middles. So I don't know how I can bring him in.
You know what? The thing is, I never, and I know that you object to this because you used to bring, you hired a guy who opened for you. No, I never was, unless a friend asked me, I never was like, I only have to go here with this person.
Yeah.
I never did that. And so I did have a lot of mixed, I would have an opening act who's shoving something up the butthole.
I'm as a classic non-kill comic. I can relate. But
so were you like me? Like
I considered myself the perfect feature.
Oh, of course, I could see that.
I go in, pretty smart jokes. People laughed throughout, but it was never over the top. It was never like they were sad I was done. They were entertained. But it was easy to follow. I don't think it was very, very rare that anyone had trouble following me. There was one great one where Hodgson couldn't follow me at a college we were doing, and I just felt fucking fantastic.
Oh, that's great.
For some reason, they just loved
the crowd
my same age ass then.
Yeah. Well, following people, I had something to say. I forgot it.
It started with following people. I know that much.
We know that much is true.
Dead end.
It's not a dead end. You know what it is? It's I call it a new beginning.
Oh, good.
Some people call it a cul-de-sac. I call it a colder opportunity. You think this would be is this life coach or Ken's list? That's not the name of it. Ted's list. Ted's talking list. You think this is good for Ted's talking list?
I think so.
I don't think I could ever watch a TED Talk. I've watched some amazing TED Talks when they started.
Wait, you could never watch a TED Talk, but I've watched some amazing TED Talks.
No, I have seen over the years nice TED Talks. Right. I could. It's the
which
last format.
Which is some evidence that you can watch them.
I can't watch them, but the head of it is like a Trump supporter now. He's like a fucking idiot.
Ted. Okay.
And they were so full of themselves so quick.
It really was. Yeah.
And then there was a structure to it, right? The structure to the speech eventually. Yes, I fell down when I was 12, and I was paralyzed for 7 years.
A Ted-plit, if you will.
Have TED Talks gone? Have TED Talks? Have they packaged them? Do they package them into a greatest hits like they do with the Moth?
I think it's a podcast now or a radio show.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
It's a brand. It's not a hot brand right now.
That guy who loves Trump. The guy who's the.
I don't know who it is.
I don't either, but he's walking around. He's got someone. I spoke to Andy Pedley last night.
Oh yeah,
to the degree that you can talk to him.
Right. I just love the thing where Andy gets off the phone going, he is so judgmental. He can actually bury you, I think, in terms of condemning others.
I know, but I was talking to him, and he always calls me up. He leaves a message, and then he gets the next message is a little more annoyed. He's annoyed. I'm annoying because I didn't pick it up immediately. But invariably, it's when you call me, ask me. Here was the joke he had for me. You ready? Uh-huh. Okay. But you take it, Andy, and you fix it and make it happen. Right? I mean, I'm just giving you the germ here. So, my ex-wife was really rough. I mean, she was mean, and God, I couldn't even get along with her. You know, she got her own show, Deal or Ordeal. It's not bad.
No, it's okay.
But there's nothing to lead up to it yet.
Yeah, you don't want to go with my ex-wife.
I can't do Fang. That's sad, though, that you can't do Fang jokes.
But I think it's just, you know, my act, it always turns into a game show. Deal or Ordeal. I think that's it.
I like that much better.
Fast. That's my motto.
That's right.
Fast.
You know what's amazing that you've been able to do many times over the years is get to the heart of what the joke is and get it down right. And then it's just a matter of if it's funny.
Right. Exactly. After that, I walk away.
Deal or Ordeal. Ordeal. And he's up in Vermont sitting around.
How's his health?
He's doing good. He has, I don't think I'm speaking out of school by saying that he has 2 weeks to live. He has myasthenia gravis, which he knows that I have turned into a bit.
Right.
What's the odds of half the people?
You just did it the other week.
Oh, sorry. And so,
oh no, wait, you did it on the Phil show. You did it on Phil's lunch show.
Oh God. You know what? It's almost like, here's how I felt on Phil's show. And here's how I know how all show busy people get to this point. I have, the other guy has at least 20 great stories that we love.
Sure.
But now we're turning into that guy who tells this show business stories.
It's, you know, you see Mel Brooks, you know, he's had the same dozen stories for 50 years now.
No, I got more. I think I got more. I think I have more. But no, what you're saying is there a limit to it. There's a limit to how many you have. But as I was winding up on the Phil show, I was like, this is what. First of all, if you can't not say you're telling a story because you want to tell it, and then he was telling me stories where he had to say, I just dropped a name, right. I just dropped another name.
Sure.
However, who else could you speak to who could say, I saw that Jerry Lee Lewis documentary. He goes, I saw it too. And he produced one of his albums. He produced one of his albums. How does that work?
David Wild did?
No, Andy Paley.
Andy Paley. I'm sorry. I thought we were back to Phil.
No, Andy Paley.
Yeah.
He produced, I think, a Madonna album that made him rich. But what are the odds that me bringing up Jerry Lee Lewis, I wouldn't even think it's the same generation. He must be extremely old.
Andy?
Yeah.
He's oldish. But I mean, he did Brian Wilson. He did.
I know.
And he used to taunt me when we played in the Naked Trucker band together a few times, and it was just deadly because he was like, you know, he's a record producer. He's playing drums, right. I'm playing bass, and he's just like, and I was like the fill-in guy, and it was super complex. So, you know, he's yelling numbers at me instead of chords.
4. Yeah. What do you mean? What's a number mean? What's the number supposed to mean?
I knew what it meant, but I don't, you know, I'm not in that.
He reads music, right? And everything? Or?
Yeah, no, he reads music, and he assumed that I was a functioning musician.
But the taunting is the taunting based on, oh God, I wish I could get Jaco Pastorius in here. Did you know Jaco Pastorius killed lost his legs and then killed his wife in South Africa? Jaco Pastorius.
No, that's different.
Well, I'm stupid. That's my Emily Tella. Never mind. What were you saying, though? You were saying something about Andy.
It doesn't matter now.
No, you were saying...
You had to go for the murder joke.
No, but I always feel about Andy Paley, like, here's the thing. He likes certain types of music very, very much.
Yes, he used to taunt me about, like, his big thing with me for a long time until I was like, I don't give a fuck, Andy, was taunting me for liking Elvis Costello. He hates Elvis Costello.
I know, he hates so many people who he should
hates him. And yet he also used the Attractions rhythm section on one of the albums he produced with John Wesley Harding.
That wasn't his, why is that? I think it's because here's what I think it is. If I'm a comic, I get bothered by hack comics. So he's saying that Elvis Costello, he's a hack. He stole his voice.
No, he's very much like you. I mean, he hates in that way, but with music.
So that's an insight into myself in a way, right? People are afraid to be around you.
You're less grumpy and bossy about yours, though. You don't make other people necessarily have to feel the same way as you. He has more of a, you're wrong if you disagree sort of thing.
Right, but if you said to him, I just want to ask you, Andy, is the point that I'm not a good enough musician to be with you or something? I mean, what's the point of the taunting?
The taunting, the musical taunting wasn't taunting. It was just him directing.
Right,
but directing in a way that wasn't helpful to me.
17.
Not only did it make me think, and because I'm thinking about the actual chords, not the relation to one another.
Yes.
And, and I agree. Real musicians do think about 1-4-5, they think about that. I do not.
Yeah. Well, you know what a 1-4-5 is.
So not only was he like not helpful, but his tone was throwing me.
5. And did you ever say anything to him, or you got to
I mean, I did, but I mean, it's like it was
like taunting back, kind of, right? Or
I'm just like, you're not helping, is what I think.
He is fun to talk to, and he just saw Brian. He told me, I don't know if this is talking out of school. He said he saw Brian Williams, because everybody says Brian Williams has dementia, and said, I'm dropping another name. He saw Brian Williams, and he had perfectly good talk with him. And so I think it's very situational with Brian now. Yeah. Brian.
Seems like that's been true for 25 years.
That's true.
There's good days and bad days for Brian Wilson.
He does a great Brian Wilson and a great Fred Stoller. He has 3 impressions. Brian Wilson and Fred Stoller, and I forgot the third one.
Well, I think we can move on from talking about the guy that no one but us knows about.
Okay, so here's the other thing that he told me that I found fascinating. I said, your initials of your name are also advanced placement. Okay, let's get going. Let's get the cobwebs. Let's clear the cobwebs out. Actually, now I feel extreme. I just realized something like it's not a magical cure-all that I would be able to wake up and feel great in the mornings.
Yeah.
But now I feel great.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. For another hour or so, and then it's bedtime.
Then it's gummy time.
What else is going on? What else is in the news? I don't know. I'm such a... here's what's happened so far.
What's that?
And I find this very annoying. I had 4 or 5 gems, I thought, or something that was interesting.
Yeah.
I forget them, and then I go, you just forgot something a second ago. And then I start to try to remember what it was, and then all the material on the way to me trying to find where it was, it's just ridiculous, and then I don't remember it.
Well, at least you got a story out of it.
See, people don't get it. That's why I think we should do the YouTube thing. Because people don't get the facial expressions that you're doing.
It's true. It would enhance.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything I saw this weekend. Anything new and exciting with the music shows? What shows did I see? Oh, goddamn, I can't remember. Oh, I watched... Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. I watched... I'm almost done with Hacks. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I know it's tough. I know I like the show, and I know that the show has different tones. It's like, it seems like sometimes there's a few shows in one show. Or not even a few shows in one show, but it's like I love that guy, Paul R. Downs, who plays the writer. I mean, he's the agent. He's the agent.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then, but now Megan...
manager, I think he is.
Right. And Megan Stalter, she's very, she's funny, but she's very big.
Yes.
She's very, so that's the thing I noticed was like, different tone things, but maybe because I was on the show, maybe because I like the topic of the show, I am rooting for, now I haven't seen Mrs. Maisel, but I'm rooting for the show because it seems like there's no way I've ever seen someone, including Dustin Hoffman and Lenny, really seem like they were a comedian, really seem like the crowd was there. So it's very hard to pull off. I'm not even saying they pull it off, but she's extremely funny, and I believe she's a stand-up.
Yeah, I believe she's a Joan Rivers era stand-up.
Yes,
which is the character she's playing, and I agree with that. It's rare. It's very rare that a non-stand-up can pull off that feeling of being on stage as well as she does.
Right. Now, people who are white from Mrs. Maisel, Jen, well, I don't know, Jen doesn't care one way or the other whether you like the show or not, but maybe that's how people, when you get into Mrs. Maisel, if you love Mrs. Maisel, but I don't know. Why am I saying that I'm saying Jean Smart is more realistic than Mrs. Maisel, but I haven't seen Mrs. Maisel enough to
yeah. Well, I think she is, but I think that the tone of Mrs. Maisel is a slightly,
so I can't even comment on
rarefied kind of universe tone.
Yes. It's like 23 Skidoo and all that kind of stuff. I mean, old-timey talk.
It's just, it's more clever. It's more clever than the world. You know?
Well, and she clearly is getting a laugh, Mrs. Maisel, that I would not laugh at. She's clearly establishing a character that is based on the fact that it's a character and everybody is paid to laugh at her in a way. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem anywhere natural. But that's my own prejudice because because I've been booked again on the show Hacks for the 4th year.
Have you?
No.
As the Penguin.
And so I think the thing is very, very interesting because I still think it's like, I can't think of an example of a stand-up. I can't think of an example of, or he even talked about where you're filming stand-up. It's almost always so hard.
Like the show that you were on before, the I'm Dying Up Here show. That did a mostly not very good job of feeling like real stand-up. And that was mostly real stand-ups doing their fake stand-ups.
Right, yeah. That captured moments of it, but it was so, I don't know, it's so
dramatized.
But the point is that I do enjoy. I've enjoyed the show from the beginning. Even the first year of the show, I had a problem with. There's an episode where a guy. Oh, spoiler alert! Don't listen for the next 3 seconds if you've not watched the whole show. He commits suicide.
Yeah.
With he jumps out of the window. Now, I think that the Hannah, Jean Smart, and all those things. I love that whole relationship. I think she's great. I think they're all great. I know you're not saying they're not, so it has nothing to do with this. There's nothing to do with you saying, "Oh no, au contraire."
No, I think everyone's good, and I'm tired of the show because it feels.
Well, that's not what I want to hear in my blurb.
that's what I feel at this point.
So that's that, and
I continued to watch. I'm now fully caught up on Welcome to Wrexham, which has been my
right. And you are recommend. Do you think Susan would like it too?
I have no idea if Susan would like it.
All right.
I really don't know. But
she doesn't.
But I
object to shows.
It has this. I don't know. I've got as I always do. I pull everything apart, but it's such a perfect formula because you always have the sports timeline and two celebrities to go to something,
right.
So it allows you to do very modular little sort of mini docs about people in the town, but it is essentially a reality show. It's a reality show pretending to be a documentary kind of,
right.
But it's like the reverse formula of most reality shows, which is let's degrade everybody.
Right, right.
And this is like, let's dignify everybody.
So
it's, it's manipulative at times and I'm manipulatable by it.
Is he in it? Ryan Reynolds in it?
He's in it, quite a bit, but it's not,
And who else would we
It's
recognize?
very self-aware. It's aware that it's both, that it is both, this show is going on while all this stuff is happening and that the sort of resurgence of this town and this team is inseparable from the show and these guys. So the other teams like fucking hate them,
Well, because they had an infusion of money. Is that what happened too?
And attention,
Attention,
from Hollywood celebrities. So there's like, you see all these shots of the the opposing team's fans going, Ryan Reynolds is a sex offender, It's like,
he's not though, is he?
I don't think he is. And
he's
Disney Plus is shite, It's just like,
Where Wrexham is in England or something, right?
It's in Wales,
Wales. But everything's real though. The games are real.
It's all real, and it's not. Like I said, I think the manipulation comes more in post than during production.
Yes, and I think that was probably one of the things that hurt. I loved Ted Lasso, and you loved it pretty much when it first came out. I
loved the first season, and I just couldn't get back on board. But I loved that just because their point of view is so strong, and their decision to go, to go sort of surprisingly positive.
Is she? Oh, I just confused. The person who's in that show is not in that person in that show who's the girlfriend of the guy who's I love that guy who's the
girl with
what is his
guy
name?
with his who plays the girl. Yeah, you're not helping me.
No, the star of he's like the star who was the star of the soccer team, and then
look it up. I don't know. Look it up.
Oh, that's right. So, but the thing is, when you're aware that people are pulling at your heartstrings, and I use the example of Modern Family, which I loved that show, and I never got into the gerrymandered ending.
Yeah.
If you feel. People have made the point that Hollywood movies, if you're not from Hollywood or America, they look ridiculous, and many of them just look ridiculous because they hit the same themes,
right?
And so
that's why I love the documentary version, though, is because when you're manipulative, you have the goods.
That's right. That's right.
The thing happened.
Ultimately, I got into the different personalities, but I never bought the premise, except for the first year. The other thing is, the first year of a show when you don't even know what they're doing, they can establish something, and it works. It really worked that first year. Yeah. That's just a challenge of all. I had problems
also,
with.
There's a rhythm thing too with streaming shows too, that where you really, the old thing of. 9 months of a show and then 3 months off, it was like you never got too far away from it.
Right. That's what Mike Gibbons said, to me once. He said, I think I said this a million times, right? He said he binged some show and he was like, oh, the show was good. But if I had to wait a week to watch it, I would never have watched it.
Yeah, and I go different directions with that. Like there's some shows that I watched only because it was once a week. And it was enough for me to go, oh, okay, I can fill this 50 minutes here. I don't want a 5-hour commitment, but
Yeah.
And then there's some that you get so into you're hungry for it.
By the way, I highly, highly, highly recommend not the Jack Up Astorias, but the
Oscar.
What is this?
Oscar.
Yeah. Is a ESPN 30 for 30 is the people who direct it, and they make incredible stuff. Right? I think they made that 4-hour OJ thing. That was unbelievable. This is a 4-part, but each part's an hour and 30.
That's a fucking lot of Oscar Pistorius.
But what's so fascinating about it is they really do just give you first of all, a lot of, I'm not saying everybody in South Africa, but there's a lot of domestic violence. And there's so much, I think of our country as like we had slavery and it was horrible. Their country, tried to keep up their apartheid for so long in such an abusive way. And I know. So, hey, did you hear Andy talk against apartheid? He's pretty strong.
Out on a limb again.
Right. So, but it's just, here's the other thing. And I'm going to make this argument, and I don't know what the argument is against it. I don't understand why every documentary doesn't have the person talking to the camera. I never understood why they're Ken Burnsing it over here. Maybe you can explain to me the cons of talking into the camera.
Because it takes it away from being any kind of a conversation. It becomes totally presentational at that point.
But many times they are in a conversation. Many times when they use that, they're not a conversation. You don't even hear the other person.
No, I know that, but it changes the tone of the interviewee.
It absolutely does. But what they did,
if they're talking directly to the camera, I mean, if you're Errol Morris, where he puts himself in that eye line, which more and more people do now, I think, then you sort of split the difference,
right?
But it's a different experience for someone sitting in that chair to look into a lens versus looking at another human talking them through.
And I think the difference, the reason why I worked here was because they had Oscar Pistorius' brother, and they had people, who seemed to be like, talk for about 15 minutes about what this meant to you. So it was like, I'm not saying that's how they did it, but that was the feeling. And the thing that's amazing about it was they would do like, here's the difference between a good documentary. I mean, where you go, at least I know that I have a chance here. Where as opposed to the way they usually do it, they would like they have a slow fade into something. You know what I mean? It's like they're taking the time. I'm not saying slow fades are great, but they're making it cinematic and letting the thing breathe.
Yeah, but they have 6 hours.
Right, that's right. But my argument would be that it's perfect. It shouldn't be shorter. It shouldn't be shorter because I'm learning so many things. And what you do learn about is that there's so many issues there. There's so many fucking issues there that would make this country. Everybody has guns. Everybody has been broken into. I think they changed governments. Not changed government, but I think ANC lost
they did, yeah,
or something. So, and it's just it's fascinating to me to see, and also within that backdrop of what a hero to me, it's the perfect it really is classic tragedy.
Yeah.
Classic tragedy because there's so much to love about. I mean, I too could see myself being if I was a double amputee, I think I would be pretty good. I think I would, with those races, I'm sure I would have a good time. I couldn't step one step without falling on my nose. And so
that's true. That's true with feet for you.
That's true, but that's different. So, I don't know, just, I'm done with the second one. There's 2 more left. So
no, so you can't really say if it's too long or not yet.
Well, I never would see Showa in the theater. I never even saw Showa. I've never seen a movie that was it The Sorrow and the Pity was 4 hours. I've never seen a movie that was Lawrence of Astoria or Lawrence of Arabia, maybe.
Lawrence of Astoria.
I know, I can't get it out of my mind. That's a great nickname for my dad, right?
Yes.
Lawrence. He's in Astoria. And he's Lawrence of Astoria. Oh, that was funny. I saw your son on TV the other day. What a head of hair. So I recommend that highly. I also saw Carlos. There's a new star in tennis, and his name is Carlos Alcaraz. Oh my God, so good. But did you watch it?
No, I've seen him play. He's great though.
You're not as much into tennis where you're going to watch the majors, or sometimes you do. Every once in a while.
Sometimes, but I'm not. It's not appointment TV for me.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. It's like
a great tennis match is great to watch. I absolutely am.
Right.
I'm for it. I'm just not that into it.
The skill level is astounding.
It is.
So when you say, "Oh, how could he make a shot like that?" and you couldn't do it, but he did a very nice job.
No, I could not. I was a pretty good tennis player as a kid for a fat kid.
Oh, wow. I think you may have mentioned this to me.
I had pretty good explosive speed. I had no endurance, but I had good explosive speed.
That's great.
As a fat kid, so.
And how was your...
I was not a total sports outcast as a fat kid, which was good. It wasn't automatically chosen last. It was like...
Did they mock you?
Penultimate choice guy.
Did they mock you?
No, I never got mocked because I always could, like I said, I was coordinated enough so I could make a play.
Right. I don't want to say that I understand how poor lower class people, not lower class, poor people. I can't say anything.
Lower income people.
Lower income, stupid. So, but I can make the argument that it wasn't easy for me to be a tennis player. There was one court that I played with Jeff Stein. I played on his court because he lived in the Kreider house area, and they had one court. But you could just see it's like, I guess the way it would happen is if I'd be like a protege or something. I guess you really have to love it. But you're so conscious of the economic realities of this sport.
Yeah.
They have to put themselves up in hotels and before they make money. And if you think about who's making money, all I'm saying is it would dissuade me, even if I had a lot of natural talent, from going in.
I don't know.
No,
I don't think so.
But I always loved it. But then
once again, you're imagining a barrier to entry that just wasn't there for you.
Did your dad teach you about sports?
Not deliberately. Like he would play catch with us, and he would, but it was
my dad too.
But it wasn't like keep your elbow up and bump. It was more casual than that.
Well, all I would have needed was one nugget that when you play tennis, you keep your eye on the ball. Because I would go out one day because I could do it. I go, I don't have to look at the ball. And I would do this for like 3 hours. Well, that's counterproductive. because you're not going to eventually
Right.
not look at the ball, but not even to understand in baseball or any sport. You can't. You're looking at the ball. You're looking at the ball. You have to look at the ball the entire time. Don't get
So you never had
distracted.
a coach of any kind?
Never. Well, no, I did. I did because I went out for football, and that was, I think I've told the story a million times. I was way shorter than everybody else, and I didn't even know it was related to the junior high school or whatever it was. I was very fast, and I was making a lot of catches, and then they started to go, yeah, look at this, I'll start the small guy if the rest of you don't. He started using me as a mock
threat.
as a threat, and I went home. I never came back.
Yeah.
And I did have the Yankees batting coach gave me a couple of pointers. Now I know how to hit. Now I know at least how to hit a ball.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm going to go into this. What are those teams like? Oh, baseball players, and they form like a crazy softball league or something. It's a famous story about this. There's a movie made about it too, about this. All these guys and ex-players, and then they form a thing. I'll come back with more information.
I'm a blank. Total blank.
Yeah. Much like my act.
I've been having this weird sort of self-actualization the last week or so where I realized sort of the whole key to me in the course of my life, which is I can't stand supervision.
Oh, yeah, I know that. I think I know that about you.
Yeah, I knew that about me too, but the word,
yeah.
It's the word that made it go, oh yeah, that's it. That's why you don't like God. That's why you don't like school. That's why you don't like showbiz. That's why you don't, it's just like, it's like, it makes all sense. And it's not like I still haven't figured out if I'm forgiving myself or condemning myself for it, but it just is like, there's such a truth to it. And it's, and I don't see it as a mature quality. But it's so bedrock to who I am.
But what if someone was, for example, like knew a lot about rental cars and knew what the speeds were to get back to the airport on time? Maybe they just knew a trick or something you didn't know about rental cars. Wouldn't you be open to hearing someone say,
a real trick, but go early is not a trick that I need.
Okay, so are you talking about like you can't take it? You don't want the man breathing down your throat?
Well, I mean, like part of like if you put it in like business terms or show business terms, it's like I think it's because my process is so fucked up because of ADD that if you're watching me do it, it looks like a fucking disaster. But if you meet me back with me at the end, you'll be happy.
Yeah.
But it's like I think that's definitely part of it, is that my process is so outwardly fucked up. It works for me. But it's so internal, and I have to work out so much shit in my head that the show your work of it is ugly. I mean, and that was true when I was in math class too. I could get the answer, but I couldn't show my work because I got there a different way.
A different way. It's math.
But you can get there different ways.
I know you can. If I knew anything about math, I'd come back with it.
But I also knew at the time that's not the point. The point is the process, not the answer. I mean, the point is both, but me getting to the answer doesn't mean I learned math.
Exactly. But it does mean that you've come up with...
It means I'm a good problem solver, and I always have been, but it doesn't mean I learned math. Yeah,
but it also, you do at the end of the process come up with jokes and all these things by working in isolation.
Yeah.
In other words, you don't do that by because I remember once I sat in a room, writing it was roast material for, I can't even remember. I was with David Feldman. I couldn't think all day long because he just kept he wouldn't want to work at all, right?
Yeah, and that's not it for me. It's if you then go, now I want you to write the script, and I'm gonna and I want you to do it next door so I can see where you're at.
Right.
For me it's like, no.
That's the worst
I'll
thing.
go home.
Yeah.
I'll write the script. I'll bring it back.
Right.
To you. Because I'm going to be cramming at the end.
Well, I always wondered about you'd be what at the end?
I'm going to be cramming at the end, no matter what.
Let me ask you this: like with the Raymond show, like, you would think if I would say, okay, now put yourself in the position of writer, could I be hanging out in a room and kind of like being funny in the room? I think I could, but I don't think the process, because that's all they do basically is bounce it off.
And I'm okay in doing that, but the idea of sitting in a room with people every day, all day, is horrible. Is exhausting to my psyche. But no, when I'm in a group like that, my tendency is to kind of want to take over. It's.
Oh, so you're not shy.
I'm not shy at all. I mean, I'm probably annoying more than shy.
Oh,
because I think I'm right so much.
Oh, so I figured. I figured that it's not.
This is how I ended up being head writer on shows.
Right. It's not this. It's not. You're not against the concept of a supervisor. It just has to be you.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah, no, and I'm not saying that the world is messed up because it has supervisors. I'm just saying I can't work within that system very well.
Well, then you're your own. You're like you're an iconoclast. You're not a curmudgeon, but you're an iconoclast. Or you're an icon.
No.
But my question to you, which I think we've talked about before, is it doesn't even matter because the form is dead.
Yes.
But I was going to ask, isn't there a better way? Like what they do is they send people off to write the script, but isn't there a way to put a little bit less time in the main room? You and Schmecky work on it now. Well, that doesn't help either unless you're a comedy team.
I mean, that only works if A, you have a really good staff, and B, you as the showrunner have an open mind and you aren't so locked into your taste on everything,
Right.
I mean, that's where I get, I'm so locked into my taste that I have to Joshify everything before I can hear it right,
Yes. Yeah. And that's just, it makes sense. Well, it is. Well, here's the thing. Comedy is not an isolating event because it happens with people.
Yeah.
But writing is I always go, writing is a solitary thing, but then I always have to remind myself, I hate writing. I hate it. And maybe I would like it better if I did it all the time.
Well, and the other thing is, the other thing is that I think I have a delineation where joke writing and writing are two different things. They're two different skills.
How do you mean?
I mean, joke writing is a different process than a script writing.
Oh, not when I do them.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey, how's it going? Did you reach 12?
That's why I have to take a page out of each of your jokes.
Andy, are you writing the life of Groucho? Because it seems like because part of the great comedy is just based on Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld kibitzing.
Right.
But it doesn't sustain itself.
Yeah, I'm not like anti-collaboration.
No, I'm not saying, I'm asking for me.
Yeah, you just have to have a work ethic that ultimately drags you away from the kibitzing and into the script.
Yes. Yeah. But the thing is, the shows I love, like I loved 6 Feet Under when it came out.
Yeah.
I loved it. But I was like, my image is that their writer's room is more fun. It just doesn't make any sense. Although I do hear, who's the showrunner? Is it not Breaking Bad?
No room is fun when you're breaking stories.
True.
No room.
But I heard the Breaking Bad guy did a very good job of creating a positive environment.
I think you can create a better environment for it, and you can create a more streamlined environment for it, probably a more efficient way of doing it, or be able to make decisions faster. But ultimately, the hardest thing in television is breaking stories, and
yes,
and you're fighting against 70 years of stories that came before you now.
And there's a formula to those stories. Not always a formula.
Right. But you have to be aware that, there's a lot of ways to be hacky in television.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of ways to be hacky in television at this point.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, like, what was I watching? Okay. So this bothered me. Just like, for example, one thing that bothered me in Hacks I was watching last night was like, she decides that she wants to be in with the old writers, like the classic writers.
Yeah.
So she goes, I'm going to Vegas to have a colonoscopy. And she goes, what are you talking about? Well, you just had one. And they go, yeah, but now I'm going to meet with the writers. I don't think you actually have to have her go have a colonoscopy a week after she had a colonoscopy, or make it that she's due for a colonoscopy.
All right.
But it's just, my mind goes, that's not true. She's not going to go and have another colonoscopy after just having one a week ago, or it's like, I don't know what that is. Is that me wanting everything to be so real, or
I guess it just bumped you. It's called getting bumped in my vocabulary.
Oh yeah.
You know? But I mean that whole arc. I mean that whole thing with her and the old comedians was totally artificial feeling. None of them seemed like old comics at all.
No, they didn't. They didn't. That's true.
And her character stating her need to be accepted by them was totally artificial too.
Right. I like the scene where they're.
The other thing was, did you see them Lost in the Woods?
No. Is that this last season?
It's coming up, yeah. Then.
Oh, okay.
Hockey.
All right, but look, the point is that we're all trying to do the best we can.
It's fucking hard. It's hard to, even with, you're not going to have every episode be gold in a season of TV.
Well, that's why I did enjoy the show Shrinking, because there were many times that I said, I don't buy this, but I just said, well, don't let that bother you. Just enjoy the parts that you are enjoying, which I think a lot of people don't do. And also, why not do it? In other words, like if I get stuck on, because I think it's like I'm a judgmental freak. So if I see something, I'm so quick to judge because of the family I came from, that if I see one false moment, I'm ready to reject the whole thing. I don't think that's so good either, really.
No, I don't. I think you can't watch everything like I watch docs.
Right.
And even I finished the doc. It's not like I go, bah, fuck, occasionally I do. Like I started watching that Ren Fair thing on HBO.
Is that a Dracula thing?
No, Renaissance Festival kind of thing.
Oh.
Ren Fair.
What's the guy's name from
Renfro?
Yeah, I was not that I was interested in watching that, but what was it like?
It was boring. I watched the first hour of it, and it was just like, and I was already suspicious that they were, when you go into a Ren Fest situation like that, it's like pick your tone.
Right.
It's like,
tell us what the premise.
The premise is like the guy who started the biggest Ren Fair in the country in Texas.
For real.
It's a doc. Okay. It's a doc series. Is like old and wants to. It's like a fake King Lear kind of thing where it's like the king wants to give up his throne and there's others vying for it. Is essentially
right, yeah.
But you don't care about any of these people. And as much as I was suspicious that they were going to be wink, 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 it's a Ren Fair, it's like they don't get any of that value.
In other words,
they manage to somehow make the world that they're in almost irrelevant somehow. It just doesn't. It's just you just don't care about what happens.
Well, I've never really understood. I know you go to these Civil War reenactments and these type of things, but I don't really understand the whole concept behind Renaissance fairs for real. I always thought everybody went to a Renaissance fair and would just go, ah, look at that guy. Hello, ye maiden, or whatever. I thought nobody takes them seriously, but I guess they
Well, the
do,
people at them do.
Are they dressed up like Wrens?
Yeah, they're all cosplaying, and they're all, a lot of they live on site, and it becomes this sort of backstage fuck fest. At least it wasn't the one in Minnesota. That was, and it's, it's a lot of, women who feel very sexy because their cleavage is out all day, and it's just like,
Did you ever think you'd come to a point where the
I worked at one, like in a charity booth for like a few consecutive weeks, a couple of years in a row. So I I didn't get into the actual subculture of it because I was still an outsider, but being around it enough, you start to see that there's totally this subculture going on among the performers, the costumed performers.
Yeah. I also have a problem going, I always go, who would want to eat at medieval times? Just because I would never step foot in.
Right.
So, but I have to open myself to go, it was probably pretty good. No, it's terrible. See, I can't. It's terrible.
I mean, there's a balance between who would want to, and you go, okay, there's certainly people that would want to.
Right.
They just aren't my people.
Yeah, because what is it?
But there are certain baselines where you just know, like that's a black and white delineator.
Absolutely.
Of this person can't possibly share my sensibilities.
Yeah.
If they're going there with genuine excitement. I mean, sure, you can go ironically once.
Well, those Civil War reenactors, that doesn't seem funny to me. It seems like, can I be the Confederate again? Can I be the Confederate?
Yeah, no, I don't think they have any irony or comedy to what they're doing. Yeah, no, they're just.
Is it true that they're 99% racist?
I can only imagine.
Well, it's just amazing. It's just amazing to me to think of like the time period where. And thank God it's not around anymore where people, I'm making something up that's not true. Where people go, I like Leonard Skinner's flag because they just like their flag. But it's a fucking Confederate flag, right? Get it out of there. Get it off the album cover. But I guess I can't speak to them.
Tom Petty toured with one for a long time, too.
He did?
Yeah.
Without knowing what he was doing?
Knowing what he was doing. He's from Florida.
But you don't think he thought when he was giving a performance, I'm sticking it to black people by showing the Confederate flag.
I don't think he did. I think he thought Southern rebel.
Right. And I think if you talk to him now, he would say, right, but he wouldn't.
No, I agree. I don't think they would tour with it in this century even.
But then the other side I have to say is that people are worshipful about Leonard Skinner. Yeah. And like they're the greatest band of all time. Maybe they are good.
That's true of every band has those people.
No. Okay.
They're called
I
fans.
understand. No, I understand that comedy is subjective and music is subjective, but a lot of times I will hear great. I liked Charlie Daniels at one point before I found out he was a Nazi.
Yeah.
So I understand that you could.
But a lot of people lock in at 17 on who they're worshipful of, and that's it. It's like people's musical taste isn't based on how they are at 50.
Right, that makes sense. But you would think that people could say, if you're a white person, now I'm not talking about Tom Petty because it's a different time period, but that you would be, gee, I wonder what this is. What is this symbol about? I would at some point look into it instead of just. Once you find out it sucks, our Leonard Skinner fans go, it's still the greatest flag. Or music is great.
But, the flag is no more a symbol than Sweet Home Alabama is. It's the same, it's the same vibe,
Yeah, but Southerners, being Southerners are not obnoxious, but Southerners where the flag are, with their own flag.
Yeah.
I just remember listening to Mark Maron, and he was doing some podcast in the South or something like that. And he just said something like casual. There's so much racism here. There's so much racism. It was just like he was so obviously a Northerner coming to town,
right.
And also I think it's just we think that we're more progressive. In other words, when I grew up in New York, I thought I was more. But that the city was more progressive. But it's like everything was separated into different. The racism is strong in New York, is what I'm saying.
Yes,
racism is strong in Boston.
Racism, yeah.
So
much like Randy Newman's Redneck song.
You can't. It's so funny to me because you really can't even talk about. You can't. That song is maybe the great. I would never sing it out loud today, but because you can't. But the thing is, it was the greatest song, and the thing that he's able to do in that song is while portraying racism, he is able to point out in the voice of that racist that what's happening in the North isn't good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I when I heard that song, I probably didn't know that Boston was as racist because I didn't grow up there.
All right.
But then it's like, and also the way that he's able to do a song like Marie is just a beautiful song on its own.
Right.
Just beautiful. So I just can't say enough about how he's able to like inhabit these personas,
right.
I would put that down as one of my favorite. Sail Away or Good Old Boys is one of the top 2 albums of all time, I think.
Yeah.
I'm only saying that because they did that at the Phil Rosenthal thing. They were having the top. They were basing on the. Did you look at the Apple's top 100 or whatever?
I did not. No.
Oh, you still haven't? I think I mentioned it to you 2 weeks ago. Because it got everybody. There's no way you can make a list and not get everybody very upset.
No, I think that is the point of making said list.
I'm trying to think if there's a. If I leave in the moon. What's this song? It's a Leonard Skinner song, kind of like. If you leave in the morning.
Freebird is what you're doing.
So in the lyrics of Freebird, there's no racism. It's more like love. It's a love thing, right?
Yeah. Freedom.
Freebird. It's a free bird?
Yes. It's free. It's Stan Freebird.
People won't know this from listening to the show. When they listen to the show, they go, here's what they're going to know. Woo-hoo! Did you hear the new one? Andy's off. He's off. Okay. I am much more aware now. You'd think I would have learned this 8 years earlier.
Yeah.
But I'm getting
but you finally
better at pauses. Getting better to listen to. There's a pause. That doesn't mean you're going to sleep.
Right.
Or that you have nothing to say. I never thought you had nothing to say. I just thought that, I had, and now I can sip my coffee instead of going, well, that's all that she wrote. And I think, how many years have I been doing it?
7.
So that's a good learning curve. I learned how to pause only after 7 years.
That's fantastic. Maybe it's because you paused the weed.
You think so? Is
that it might be. You aren't. Your silence paranoia isn't in here.
Well, forever, and I know I've repeated this forever, but the greatest image of me that you have constructed is the doorbell ringing and me having to do banaka weed. And the idea being, am I high?
I'm not high enough to meet this new person. I hope I make a good first impression.
I hope I do. Are you following? What's happening with the basketball, and who should I root for?
You should root for the Mavericks. As much as it hurts, it pains me to root for any Texas team. You should root for the Mavericks against the Celtics, but it won't do you much good. But root for them anyway.
Oh, the Celtics are that much better?
They're seemingly a lot better. Yeah, they're a fucking good team. There's no way around that.
Well, and the thing is, when I was growing up, you had to deal with that Red Auerbach and his stupid cigar. I hated Boston teams when I was growing up. But it's been how long since they've won anything?
2008 was their last championship.
Oh, okay. That's not that long.
No.
I try to compare everything to the Mets or the Jets, but there's no...
The big tragedy will be that they will then pull one championship ahead of the Lakers.
Is that true?
Yes.
I don't know if that's a tragedy.
Tragedy! How dare you?
Gonna take a little break. Gonna take a little break now. Gonna take a little break. Gonna take a little break now. Gonna take a little break. Please stop talking for a moment. Take a little break now. Gonna take a little break. Please stop talking. Gonna take a little break. If it's in your power. Gonna take a little break. Just stop talking for a minute. Take a little break now. Take a little break. So I can stomach another hour. Take a little break now. Take a little break.
How are you?
Very, very good. Very, very good. Sounds defensive already. Very, very good. Maybe I'm incapable of having.
But it was your first response, at least.
True. Maybe I'm not good at exchanging pleasantries.
It could be. You're not very pleasant. It might be that you're not very pleasant.
No, I am pleasant today. I am pleasant. Because there's different ways I can
meant
go.
in general, really.
I know I am unpleasant in general. That I understand. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. So I had so many things to say. Here's the thing. I was on stage last night, and I lost my place literally 1,000 times. I actually had a very good set, but that's another story for my own podcast. What? Huh? But it was fun. It was exciting because Nate Odenkirk was in the crowd, and Naomi Odenkirk. Do you know Naomi?
I don't.
Okay, Naomi is Bob's wife, but I've known her since she was Naomi Yuntov. What does Yuntov mean?
It means holiday in Yiddish.
Yeah, that was her name. Yuntov.
Good Yuntov.
Naomi Yuntov. She couldn't have been more Jewish back then. Now she's an Odenkirk. So that was very exciting.
That takes a lot of Jew off the top right there.
So she was there, and her son, Nate, who I'm a fan of because he writes with Bob. He does, I've always wanted, as you know, Shouts and Murmurs is my dream.
I know. You can just do shouting, though. The murmur you haven't gotten to.
Well, I asked him, I said, is it that I like that talk of the town? He goes, no, I don't do. Oh, I said Shouts and Murmurs. He goes, I'm not ready. Am I ready for talk of the town yet, or something like that? He said,
I'm doing whines and whinges.
That wouldn't be one, right? Because it's not old timey enough. Heard, because everything with New York is heard downtown.
Yeah.
Heard at the bar. By the way, I decided to. I should never get any upcoming episodes from you because I didn't mind the episode that you minded of hacks, and I'm sitting on pins and needles. Because I'm responsible for the show now.
Is this because I said Lost in the Woods episode?
Yeah, so I'm expecting them to get caught by a bear. I'm expecting that, I have to admit, any of the actual things that they do, like falling off trees, It does look like a soundstage. But beyond that, no, I'm just kidding. But it didn't bother me that much. I really like her relationship with Hannah Einbinder, but it doesn't matter. I should never. I should refuse to get any feedback on anything or any show that I'm in. One of the two.
Well, I mean, it was super mean of me to go after your appearance. It really was. I'll say that right now. But it was very penguiny.
oh, you're going after my appearance. Well, I forgot that part of it. So thanks.
Okay. But I'm ambivalent about the show.
Yeah, I think you have. I mean, I'm ambivalent about everything. But it is amazing to me that if I'm on, because I was telling this to. Megan Keister came with me last night to the show.
Yeah.
So that was fun. She lives 2 blocks from it's called The Yard on Melrose.
Yeah, we did Scheidner's play there.
Oh, that's it's kind of a nice space.
Yes.
I think it's a nice space. Yes. Shut up, everybody. I got something to say.
It used to be the fake gallery.
Of course. How do I, why can't I keep one fact? This is unbelievable to me. I had mixed it up.
It was totally reversed when it was the fake gallery. Where
yes,
the stage
it was totally reversed. Yes. Yeah, the stage was by the front door.
Uh-huh.
And the upstairs area was where Paul Kozlowski lived.
Yeah.
But now it all makes sense to me. I didn't realize it was the same theater that it looks like it looks nicer now.
It's more theater-like, yeah.
It's more theater-like. And someone said John Ennis owns it. I was like, that's really cool. So now I see it's a Kozlowski. Ennis bought it from Kozlowski. So, What? So, but here's how ridiculous I am. I've already been there and knew it was the fake gallery. But when I was telling Susan where to go, I said, I think it's where the complex is. It's not where the complex is, so stop it. The complex is on Santa Monica Boulevard.
You're where the complex is.
Oh, don't give me a complex about it. Starring Andy Kindler as...
Andy Kindler.
Andy Kindler as... better. I like your idea. Better. So here's the thing. I went to this guy.
This would be. Remember, we're an audio product, so just holding up your gnarled hand.
So I came home last night. I said, Susan, and I said during the show because Susan didn't come with me, but I said during the show, Susan's not going to like this, but look at my Heberden nodes. Look at can you see him from where you're sitting? I said, you're not going to like that. And then when I got home, she goes, no, I don't like that. Why do you have to show No, isn't that funny though? That I referenced you? Not so much. All right. So, I went to a hand doctor.
Old Jew Medical Corner.
Yeah.
And, the guy prepping me, his name is Armando. He's like prepping me and everything. Yeah. I said, what about those shots in the finger?
Prepping you and what?
I mean, it's like, okay, you go to a Cedars-Sinai, you go to one person. They bring you to like the lady. Like the lady brought me to the X-ray. Then the X-ray lady brought me into the room. Then someone named Armando came in. He's in a good mood. He's taking down what's going on with you before the doctor sees you.
Gotcha.
So I said, Armando. I didn't call him Armando because I'm not like an idiot.
Right.
I said, I'm worried about these shot. What if I have to get a shot in this finger, my trigger finger? And he said, well, the guy numbs it up, and he's
with
he's
a
really
shot.
Good. He's really good. What's that?
With a shot.
He numbs it up. He goes, he's really good. He's really good at giving shots. He goes, are you buying it? He says to me. I said, so it's going to be low. Basically, it's going to be paper. But he didn't. The thing that I was most worried about that he can't do for me.
Yeah.
First of all, it's fascinating what I have. He said, it's from, like I have psoriatic arthritis. I don't know what I had. No, psoriatic psoriasis.
That's a little redundant.
Yeah, but then never. How many times have I done the Bobby Collins joke, the Rick Corso version? Never give salsa sauce to your dog. Salsa is sauce, Bobby. 1 million times I've done it. Never give the salsa. I can't get that out of my head.
Not a million, no.
Because I've seen, you get, someone says something so ridiculous. Who gives salsa sauce? Have you had the salsa sauce? I would stop a show if he still did it.
I used to do a bit when I was a kid in my act about tuna fish. Do we need the species clarification?
What are you saying? Why don't it even make sense to me? How does that make sense?
Tuna fish? We know what tuna is. Could I have some lobster crustacean?
It's good. What do you mean you were young? That's a better joke than I've written ever.
Hamburger cow? What?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Barry Golub would remember the exact phrasing, but I do not.
And as I've always said, I know a Bob Golub who is not related to Barry Golub. And you would think that Golub
doesn't know
would be
my
related.
act as well either.
What?
Doesn't know my act as well either.
You know Bob Golub.
I know of him. I didn't. Yeah. I don't think I ever met him. And he was Golub. He was different. Golub, I believe.
Oh, what's your Golub?
Yeah, Golub. Golob.
That's why it's wrong. Now it's all messed up. Now it's not even a story where I can compare.
Hi, Barry. We said your name a bunch.
It's like me going, your friend Smith spelled Smyhte. Is he related to my Jewish manager, Bruce Smith?
Yes. They're all related.
Do you know what would be terrible? It's so good that I'm not named Smith. Because I would be one of those guys who said, are you sure we're not related? Where are you from? My father had a Smith. And I'm telling you, it's the most common.
And you do it to Bubba Smith.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. Because don't preface anything like that. But it's interesting you say that because this was happening to me on stage last night. What was the last thing you said? I swear to God, I had the audience do this.
Bubba Smith was the key.
They loved it. The audience loved it.
The password is Bubba Smith.
Bruce Smith used to get not enraged, but fake enraged because he hates football, and his partner Tom Ingenio insisted on calling him Bubba, his nickname Bubba. Because he says you're Bruce Smith, and you nickname is Bubba.
You could have just thought of it as a Police Academy reference.
Was Bubba Smith in Police Academy?
Yes, he was.
How would you know? Okay, Police Academy. I just realized those are good. Those are decent
that
movies.
Other people have.
Hey, look, you're lucky. You wish it'd been one day early. If somehow Friday could be no pot. But
I do.
I have been smoking pot this week.
I figured you'd go back. I figured you'd rebound.
But not as much. Not as much.
It can't be bad.
It can't be bad. No, nothing can be bad.
I'm not going to shit talk dry weekends.
What is that, dry January? Because someone says, I'm doing a dry January, and I thought they came up with it. I said, that's pretty clever. But no, that's been around. Do you do a fluid February? Do you do a matcha March? Do you do a April cream bread? Here's a guy who thinks
it's
writing.
like a Kindler bed without having been written.
This is what the guy thinks of his writing. He goes, now when you get into that room, Andy, you got to participate. What would be a good play? Phoenix? We haven't even told you what the premise is. What would be a good name for his governor? Susan? My wife's name is Susan. Jews Without Boundaries is working very well for me. I thank you for that.
Oh, good. Because you shortened it.
Well, yeah. Well, I did a whole riff last night.
Did you try Deal or Ordeal last night?
No, I didn't. Did you try Deal or Ordeal? No, but I will try that. But I did, for the first time last night, talk about how I felt as a... Why are you going thumbs down?
I didn't even move my hand. I don't know what happened there.
I talked about, it used to be, and I didn't have it all down, and it wasn't all funny, but it was all real. It was like, I used to think it was great to be Jewish, charming, you're a member of an oppressed group. And I just went into the whole thing about how it's different now and about how... And I said, look, I got propaganda from it's not Reform School, Reform Judaism School. But they really did say, and I think I told you this before, but they actually said this to us. They said, now, kids, you may have heard, this was the first thing they said. Now, kids, you may have heard that we murdered Hitler. This is going around, kids. Have you heard about this, right?
We murdered Hitler? You mean Jesus,
no,
I think you mean Jesus.
If I mix up Hitler with Jesus, I've done it 4 times in the last 3 days. What does that say about me?
I don't know. It's not good for the Jews, though. I know that much.
Kids, you may have heard that we were involved in the, turning Jesus over to the Romans. But the decision to do that happened on Passover. So we couldn't have made that decision. We would have been in temple. Am I right, kids? Does that not sound plausible? Right? Because that was the one thing. And then the other thing was, have you heard about Israel, kids? That's where many of the Jews live now. And when they went there, nobody could figure out how to grow a flower there. Nobody in a million years. We came, and all of a sudden, thank you for the flowers. And also the people who were there, they weren't people, they were people who like to move around, very transient type people.
Nomads, yes.
Right. And it was really good. It really was good. It was like good to say it, and it was received it's like when we talked about, I couldn't do this on October 10th, but my point was, I wouldn't do this on October. I didn't even think something, I wouldn't have, but at some point, genocide is genocide. And I don't care how you candy coat it. He's a war criminal and he's committing genocide. So I don't know what I expected.
By the way, I disagree with genocide, but I will say war crimes.
Why not genocide? We don't want to get into an argument, or no?
No, we don't have to get into the argument. I'm just saying I don't go all the way and say what he's committing is genocide.
Okay, I think that's a fair point. But when you go into a hospital and you save 3 people and you kill, and you go, nobody got hurt, just those. Sure, Palestinians were killed, but we got 3 of the hostages back.
No, I agree. I agree with all that.
And I think it's what's the word? Pragmatic? No, it's words. It's words.
It's slightly more than semantic, but
right.
But it's more than semantic enough for me to mention it.
Yeah, that's true. But also, that's a bad.
I don't mean to be anti-semantic. It's like we all did the whole thing to set that up.
Anti-semantic. I'm not trying to be anti-semantic, but I think that both of you would agree. Well, yes, I would go further. I say Trump is a war criminal, and I say Bibi is a war criminal. He goes past all the other Israel leaders that I've been familiar with.
Yeah, and I'll get in your sidecar for a war criminal.
What would you do in the sidecar? It's like
I'll just nod I'll hold a sign too.
What was the purpose of a sidecar when they first came out?
Having an extra person.
Yeah, but why are they at a different level? They're lying. They're going low.
Because it's safer.
It's safer to have the little. Oh,
yeah,
God,
because you want the lower center of gravity, so it doesn't go wah.
So is that what they did for the first 100 years of cars? They didn't even know that you could have passengers in the car. They just had you want a sidecar here?
The first 100 years of cars. That's what they did.
You want a sidecar here? I want a
100
sidecar
years. Up until the year 2000, it was just 1 people. One person had a cow.
And then if you had a little kid, could you pull a tricycle?
Yeah, they called it what was it called? The rumbus seat? Or what is that called?
I think it's called a
rumble seat.
I once tried at a party a rumba seat. And
Really?
It's like a chair.
I'm enjoying sitting on here now. Yes, I am. Yeah, my butt feels good. Real deal. Sorry.
I'm always one curse. Chris Bliss is retiring.
He's
according to his thing.
He's doing like a final juggling video thing. Yeah.
Okay, well, I told Susan that doesn't mean he's retiring. People say that all the time.
It's not like it's not. It's near term horizon, but not like.
Yeah,
like I know he just went on a ship out of Barcelona yesterday. So
that's what I'm saying. Imagine doing a farewell cruise thing.
I could imagine it.
That would be
my first.
That was my bad premise. And you said you have done one. You have done one.
I have not done a cruise. No, I was booked once and it got canceled, and
you haven't been on a cruise.
I have not. No.
Doesn't that sound like the worst thing in the world?
Style.
It sounds like the worst thing in the world.
It does, yes.
And here's some of the things that bother me. Maybe it's OCD.
Buffets.
You go in there. What's that?
Buffets.
No, the bathrooms were all. Isn't this whole thing just like a huge toilet that we're running around? It just makes me sick. You're with all these people and their germs, and you're with them, and then you see somebody in the Lido deck. Anzie, come up to the Lido deck. My wife loved your bit about shoes.
I wouldn't worry about that happening really so much.
And
of all the things you need to worry about on a cruise, fans probably isn't one of them.
But also the idea of if I want to go, okay, let's say I love buffets. I'll go to Vegas and stay on dry land.
I hate buffets, and I'd rather not.
You never liked the Vegas buffet when they had the primary buffets? Oh my God, I was a sucker for those.
I don't like buffets.
Well, you don't even like leftovers, is what I told you.
Exactly, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, occasionally, but it's not like.
Is that because you roll like a king? Throw those away. You say?
No, I don't throw them away until about a week later. But nonetheless,
what's Allison? Is Allison? I can't believe you threw away.
No, she likes leftovers, but she's not like depression era about it.
Oh well,
but she doesn't eat regular portions, so like a regular portion is 2 meals to her.
Have either of you ever felt guilty about not finishing your plate? Did you ever come from that background?
No, my mom was like, "Stop."
My mom.
Do you need another one?
Well, my therapist has asked me, did I feel food insecure? Which it sounds like I don't think it was, but it really was like when my mom would go, "It's catch as catch can."
Yeah.
She really meant like
you're on your own.
There's not a variety of things. She's not even saying there's food there.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to run down to the market?
Yeah.
So I think that wasn't so good. Of all the positives,
So
okay,
what?
go ahead.
I mean, so what? Once a week or whatever, she was just like,
yes,
fuck it,
but
this
she
isn't
didn't
on
cook
me.
the other 6 days. She didn't cook the other 6 days.
Okay, I understood, but she took responsibility.
My father came home every day and made the meals.
Right.
But he was no prize in certain areas. I spoke to, I did speak to Becky and Jay. We haven't talked to Becky.
Catch me up.
Was my mother? My mother was an antique collector, of course, as we know that, and one of the foremost, maybe the most foremost expert about antique dolls. So I found I have a couple of dolls left. So I said, I wonder if Becky, I can call Becky. So I called Becky. She didn't even know my mom died. How about that?
Geez.
She didn't even know my mom died. And so we had a wonderful talk. And I realized that one of the things is that, I think I've said this to you before, but the fact that my sister and my mom died at the same time, it meant like the people who would contact other people in the family. Well, my mother never contacts anybody, but my sister would have been able to say, let's make sure this person knows about her dying. And I did none of it. I mean, I think, there were people there when she died. That's right. Becky had fallen out of touch with my mom. Uh-huh. And but Becky and Jay were like my parents' children. They were like, my parents had very few friends, but they had Becky and Jay. They would go there for Christmas, like and they really were like
the children who liked them.
That's right. That's right. In fact, I compared notes with Becky. One of the most traumatic things that happened with me and my dad was I was in I stayed overnight in Columbia University when I did a gig because there was a woman there who I was sleeping with. I wasn't over there to study. So I got up the next. Okay, I remember I'm 30 or 31 when this is happening.
Yeah.
And I think I was dating an undergraduate. Could I get arrested for this? It's not good.
No, you'll go to hell, but you're legally
It's like an
clear.
undergrad. So I'm dating an undergrad at Columbia University.
You must be very proud.
It sounds like that's why I generated the story.
It does now, yeah.
Let me tell you. So one day, you know how I have sex with everybody, right? Okay. So the next morning I get up.
You know I love having sex with the kids.
Don't say that again, because I think now I think I should have said something legal before this.
Yeah, freshman would have been. She would have been legal as a freshman. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, she's not a freshman.
I'm just saying.
Why did you say freshman? All right, so I go in the morning. I'm already feeling guilty. I stayed overnight in the city with my dad's car, but you know how cool he is about everything.
Was this at a dorm? Was it a dorm?
They don't think they have. I think it's just on the streets, Columbia.
Okay.
I don't even see where the dorms were. She stayed at like a apartment like that was in Manhattan.
Okay.
But right near it. I get up in the morning and I couldn't get my car started.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the car started. So I call my dad and I say, I'm scared to death. Remember, I couldn't call them when I was mugged.
Right. But now you're 30.
That's
now
what
you're 30.
So I said something like, I think Janet answered the phone. Thank God. I said, Janet, I hear my father yelling in the background. What the fuck did he do? What the fuck did he do? What the fuck? Becky and Jay are there.
Yeah.
So Becky and Jay, who are really, really good friends with my parents, they're seeing my father, and they love my father more than my mother. As many people love my father.
Sure.
Many people loved my
like
father.
The more charming of the pair.
He was more charming. So, what did you do? And then my sister, thank God, was screaming back at him. Not me. I didn't scream back at him. She was like, what
good would it do? You were on the phone with your sister.
I wonder if I was on the phone with my father at all. I don't think I was, because I don't think he yelled directly into my ear.
Right. It seems
but
like
he was
your
yelling,
sister was
screaming,
smart
yelling
enough to keep the phone away from him.
I got back. Now, again, I am young. I understand his anger. I was 17 or 16. No, I'm 30, right? So, so I can see why I get back there, and then he's obviously embarrassed that he screamed at me. And he's obviously, as I brought this up with Becky and Jay, I said, do you remember the time when my parents? Of course I remember when your father screamed at me. But, my father, I think,
Did
never
you ask him
apologized.
how quick he calmed down after you hung up the phone?
Well, they had, I guess, by the time I was back in Queens, he was not screaming, but he wasn't. I didn't talk to him. It wasn't like he wouldn't talk to me, but he certainly wasn't going to go, son, come here.
So what was the actual issue with the car? Let's get that knocked off the list.
I think it was something that when I called AAA, it was just a disconnection of the battery. I thought maybe it had been broken into, but it was just the battery within. My parents never took care of their car. That was also part of the trick.
Yeah.
You can, please, we'd love you to have the car, but if one fucking thing happens, we're blaming you.
Right.
And they never took care of it. So it's like you want to play this game show? You use your parents' car to go to Rascals?
Right.
Welcome. Thanks for playing. So I just didn't talk to him.
It's time to play. What the fuck did you do?
What the fuck? Now, here's the thing. My father exploded like that at me one other time for sure. Well, my sister claims I was, I want everybody to know this right now, that I did love my parents, and I have my hand on a Bible now. Okay, I forgot. I just confused myself. Something about my father. I don't know. Something about being scared about.
I can't help you on this one. Sorry.
You can't help me. You could. Last night, the audience, I think the audience now, a lot of people say Andy's losing it. But I say the audience loves this audience participation now. Right. What was the last thing? Then people compete in the audience. I think he said shoe. Oh, it's so much fun.
It's so much easier than what do you do for a living?
I still forgot my Einstein line. Einstein, during his speeches, we often say, looked at, and he go, this guy doesn't know what I'm talking about. This guy doesn't know what I'm talking about.
It's very Kindler.
It's very Kindler. and it's very etc.
How are we for space time? You'll then say, and love yourself for
I
it.
forgot my space time. Thank you for reminding me my space time chunk. I couldn't remember anything last night, and I'm not. And the thing is, it's not that I forget anything about stand-up. Well, I do. I forget everything about stand-up. I forget the current story in my head. Right, whatever the current story in my head, new bits plus. I hate Carell. Not Carell. I did a good stuff about Chappelle. The basic thing I said, I just want to say Netflix. If you want to, you don't have to pay $700 million to have a transphobic comic. Complain about trans. You get that for much cheaper than $700 million. You overpaid that. So that worked in the context of I'm trying to go over my material and getting approval from you.
It's a little open micer of you going. And then I said,
and then somebody in the audience said, it's too noisy. And I said, hey, where are you from?
And I said, act like you've been there before.
That's exactly right. It was wonderful. Nate, I happen to think Bob Odenkirk, and I'm not saying this because I'm attracted to him, but I think he's a handsome man, Bob Odenkirk.
Sure,
and his son is a handsome. His son is a handsome kid.
That's good to know.
And the thing is, do you think the kids sense my desperation when I overly compliment them? I love that shouts and murmurs you did. I loved it.
It's a little much, probably, knowing you.
And
because of all, it's like, I just want you to know the New Yorker. It's much more about me than
you think it's a combo.
Yeah.
It's a combo. I'm relevant I'm as relevant as your dad. Don't you worry about it a bit. I'm in the same business as your dad. Has he mentioned me?
All right. So now I'm going to circle back, and this is the wrap up section of the Andy Kindler blurt. What happened with your hand?
All right. So he said it's fascinating. It's fascinating. He goes, I can't give you the shot that you're triggering where you wouldn't normally be triggering. And so it has much more to do with deposits and they're going to do a nerve thing with me. Like they go down have you had that? They go down your arm.
I have that every week. What the fuck? Why would I?
The point was I was very proud of myself because it was one of those appointments that I was not going to. I all of a sudden got into it. I said, I'm going to be able to take a shot in my hand.
Good.
And then, so I was very proud of myself as I show the people who listen to our show how good I am about life.
Yes.
Life hacks. Also, he was a young doctor. Okay, so the doctor says to me, there was a doctor that I went before over there, a neurologist. I didn't like him because he was saying I'm getting out of the valley, he was basically saying. And I commiserated with this guy. He didn't say, I don't like the badmouth. This guy was badmouthing everybody, this neurologist.
Yeah.
Because he told us, I went in there, he goes...
Sorry, wait, stop a second. This neurologist is badmouthing everybody. The nerve of him.
No, because I went to see him. First of all, he was a sour man. If you go to a neurologist, you don't want a sour neurologist. He was in a bad mood. And they talk about
but my last neurologist was the name-dropping comedy fan, so I don't know.
That's worse. And was he trying to be funny fan too?
A little bit of that, yeah. He had a podcast. So.
Oh God!
Yeah. And
some you hear mixed reactions to neurologists in general when you hear other doctors talk about them. It's like, what are they going to do? What are you going to? You have to have a tumor before they know something. What did they neurologize for you?
It was all with my whole back and leg issues.
Oh, it could have been a brain issue?
No.
Why are you looking at me like that? Because that's all they do. I thought neurologists were in the brain. They don't do anything about the brain.
It's the nerves.
The nerves. But I thought, the nerves.
Thus my joke. Thus my joke. The nerve of it.
Wait a second. Am I confusing a neurologist? What do you go to if you do feel you have a tumor in your head? Is that a neurologist?
Probably in there too. But yeah.
Yeah.
Brain surgeon, I would go for.
That's what I'm saying. Who's that? What's that called?
Brain surgeon.
Not a neurologist?
I don't know. Why? Get away.
You know, when you go for brain, you know what they say to you? You'll get this joke. You know what they say to you when you say, is it hard to be a brain surgeon?
It's not rocket science, they say.
Boom. Thank you. Thank you. You know, I was going to buy the book about procrastination. I was looking at it online.
I pre-ordered it.
You did?
Every time we do this.
Isn't there another example of a hack bit that's like procrastination?
No, that's the one.
Your entire job. This is your entire job on Fridays. Moving it along.
With no agenda. I just
Tom,
just to get to the end, not to get to the next thing.
Tom says, "Hey guys, somebody wrote they were angry. They wrote, did we go over this? They say, yeah, I can't do anything. I can't ask these great questions anymore. And I forgot what the question was, and I forgot who the person was. But they were angry that they couldn't make.
I think it might have been Sous Vide. Who was
that's
like,
right.
I know who Daryl Strawberry played, but I can't tell you because they don't do questions anymore. See, we see your questions, and now we've said it on the air. You beat the system, Sous Vide.
Oh, that's right, Sous Vide. Hey, Sous Vide, you knew you'd get on the air because you knew I wouldn't be able to drop it, and I'd be talking about it immediately. Sous Vide.
I hope it was Sous Vide.
No, it was Sous Vide. It was absolutely Sous Vide. But I believe that her name is a funny spelling of the cooking thing.
Huh.
Like, don't you make sous vide?
Uh-huh.
Do you think that at one point, like my favorite Superman episode, where Superman records himself saying "no comment" until the time limit is up, and then Jimmy Olsen keeps playing it back over and over again. Superman, what are you going to do? No comments. And meanwhile, Superman, I don't know what he's done. He's up to some kind of a thing, but is okay. I thought I was onto something. No comments. What was that related to? No comments. The time limit is up.
Superman something. Superman episode.
Well, here's the thing. I was thinking more and more that you probably had a better childhood than mine.
Really?
Because Superman was a terrible show.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I mean, my sister and my brother, and we were scared by the episodes. And my sister was 5 years old.
Right.
But now I feel like you had the Muppets. You had the Muppets. You also had the Muppets when you were younger.
Sure.
You had more stuff that was better quality shows. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. Alf is a better quality show.
We had better quality shows than you, and then subsequent generations had like whole networks for themselves.
Right.
Yes. So we were the transition period. But the Muppets were pretty between Sesame Street and the Muppet Show. They were big. They were in fact a big presence.
Yes. So that's why I've had so much trouble. I didn't grow up in your time. I have Romper Room. I don't even know what a fucking romper
Room
is.
Doesn't help you with anything. I mean, it's good. It's good for spotting people. It's good to learn how to spot people.
What's a romper? Oh, someone who's romping around.
Sure.
Ugh, what a terrible name. So I'm holding. The ending of the whole thing was I'm holding this with my left hand now. And on stage, I just left it in the for the first time.
I knew you could do it.
And it probably is better, isn't it?
Well, it frees up your hands for your frenetic card handling.
For my frenetic what?
Card handling.
I think you said Karnak. Sir, mix that up. Here's me as a magician. Sir, mix that up. Cut the card. Don't cut that card. That's the one is the trick one. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Carl Bound.
Don't do close-up magic with your hands like that, by the way.
How come? Oh, with the Hebriden's nodes?
Yes.
And I could do a trick. Hebriden's nodes. Regular fingers. Like that. I just think it's nice that I am walking around in a fog. I've been to the yard before. I know that it was the fake alley before. But every time I go to a place, it's a wonderful new experience for me. Have I been here before? What's happening here? Who likes me? And I walked around that neighborhood. Like all of a sudden I was brave with me and Megan.
Yeah.
And I said, don't you worry about a thing. Megan's point is...
Well, it's really a college neighborhood.
Yeah. Her point is, my whole thing is I grew up in a time period with white privilege. I didn't mean to have white privilege, but it would be like...
In fact, you didn't take advantage of it as well as you could have.
Well, but it'd be like everybody when I was from my generation, is it a good neighborhood? Is it a bad neighborhood? Is it a good neighborhood? Is it a bad neighborhood? Bad neighborhood, good neighborhood. Well, all that stuff, Megan is saying that when they look at statistics, you're probably safe in almost any area in Los Angeles.
I would say
if you think,
true. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unless you're involved in a criminal transaction, which ups your odds of violence.
Well, true. I won't, I try to separate my, what is it I do with the cars when I tear them apart? What's that called? And I sell them for parts?
Parting them out.
What's that?
Parting them out.
No, there's a name for hack jobs. Stripping. Yeah, like that. Huh? So, and things like that. Okay, I here's the thing. I think that I need to go to a clinic, I think is what I need to do now.
Sure.
Where you do simple things. I remember they give me, maybe I need to go to a class where they give me the 4 words like Trump thought he was a genius.
Right.
By the way, you told me that in many ways Trump is actually more reasonable now, and I have to disagree with you. You told me the other week that you thought he was.
I said he's on the rebound. I said
he's on the rebound, and you said he could. You said you didn't believe it last time, but this time you think he could pivot. He might actually pivot.
He seems. I think he's going to get presidential.
He is losing it. It's delightful if he wasn't running for president, but he's losing it with all of these. I'd rather have electrocution than to be hit by a shoe. Shark. And you see, here's what I saw people behind.
It's a good question. We haven't heard that one before. Yeah, good.
And I do see people behind him talking to people behind them. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? But they still think he's charming. They think it's like a charming.
Or they're going, he really does hate sharks.
He's had a number of those things. And he goes, why can't? He was very upset about low flow toilets, for example. At one point.
Yeah.
I want to flush it. And flush.
Yes.
And I remember him with
pumping the washing machines with the button because he can't get enough water or gas or whatever he was trying to say. He was.
And then they had the. What was the other thing they had? I don't know. Come on, just leave it alone with you. Leave it alone.
Not
with
a strong candidate, is what you're saying, and I'm starting to come around.
Well, here's the thing. I love. Here's the people I love. What is that guy? I can't stand him. He's the punch bowl guy. The punch bowl. Yeah, what is his name? Jake Sherman. All he does is he gets Republicans say things to him after a meeting. They're in the meeting with Trump. They go, yes, they had a big meeting yesterday. We're for him. We love him. It's him.
Yeah.
Big meeting. And then after the meeting, they get people called, hey, Jake. And then he said that he thought he was a 3-legged schmickel. Right. And then, Jake, then he spilled soup on this.
Said, Milwaukee can blow him.
Yeah, Milwaukee sucks. And I'm thinking, Jake Sherman's job sounds terrible to me. Being the inside guy who talks to Republicans?
Yeah.
Not for me.
You have a drink with Mitch McConnell.
Oh, man. I miss Obama. Dooba-doo-boop.
So I watched a lot of stuff this week.
You did?
I did. And I actually have things I liked this week. Which is especially weird. Here on the segment, Weinstein Watches. Poo, 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 poo.
What's it called?
Weinstein Watches. I watched that Hitman movie.
Oh,
which is good.
The Hitman,
which is
the
good.
Hitman.
And it is. It's one of the few times where everyone says something is good, and it's pretty good.
Is that the one with Ryan Gosling?
No.
Who's winning?
I can't think of his name, but it is Linklater.
Richard Linklater. Yeah. Okay, cool. I like him. I enjoy him. He does good movies, Richard Linklater. Okay, and
so yeah, it's a good watch.
It's like is it a blood curdler? Is it a action twister?
It's a twister, but it's not an action.
I hope you never see me have to do that again.
Yeah, Steve, stop it now. Please,
okay,
please stop. Please stop.
So I will watch. Now I'm going to watch. Where's it available?
He was scratching his nasal taint.
Where's it available?
It's on Netflix.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
I watched American Fiction finally, which I believe you watched at some point. Yes. I did like it a lot.
That was really good.
It was good.
That was one of my favorite. Oh, you're talking. I just made some. American Nightmare is actually a good reality thing about these people who got arrested for the wrong thing. American Fiction, I love that movie. And my friend's in that movie. Neil Lerner's in that movie. I have friends in show business. He was an actor who went with me to college, and look at him all these years later, still working.
Who was he?
He's one of the guys that they call him up to see when they're voting on everything.
The judges of the fiction.
The judges, yeah, he's one of the judges, the Jewishy looking judge.
Ah, okay. Good.
He has less hair than he had.
Good. I don't feel like the movie, rules are sunk on him, but yeah, that's good. Then I watched that Brat Pack doc that Andrew McCarthy made.
What's that called?
I think it's called the Brat Pack.
Oh, about all those kids?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And it's
that's the one I would first watch.
That's the one I would least recommend. In fact, I don't recommend it. It's not good.
Well, I saw Andrew McCarthy being interviewed. He looks older.
You think?
Than he
was in the 80s? Huh.
Well, he was a bad guy. He was a bad guy, really bad guy in one movie where he was just great. Was it 16 Candles, maybe?
He was like a
tough guy.
He was in Pretty in Pink.
He was a tough guy in Pretty in Pink.
I don't know about tough, really, but he was a douche.
But I mean, for Hollywood people.
Yeah.
Oh, no, not tough. Mean. Just he was mean and nasty in that movie. And I don't like when men act that way.
You're Team Ducky.
I love him. I love that movie. So go ahead.
Okay, good.
I loved it.
All right, then maybe you should watch.
Okay, shut up.
You should watch the Brat Pack thing.
But it's not that deep, is what you should probably.
Well, it's just it's not full length doc worthy because it's Andrew McCarthy who's clearly was scarred by the Brat Pack label.
He was.
Yes.
Oh well, that's
and all of them were to some extent. Seemingly, none of them were to the extent he was, and so the cumulative effect. And he even acknowledges at some point doing it. First of all, it's one of the things I hate, which is I have this question and I'm going to make a doc about it. Come with me while I make this doc, and I'm going to talk to the camera a lot during the process of making the doc, and I'm going to, and then I'm going to do it really amateurishly with a bunch of guys walking into each other's shots, and I'm not going to, So it was a poorly made doc, first of all, really badly paced and badly shot and so repetitive because.
Sorry, someone's calling me. They want money. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you can mute those things.
Why shouldn't I have muted that? Should have muted that, right?
It would have been good.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's repetitive just because, I mean, the nature of it is him having the same conversation with all these people over and over,
Right. About what they thought about.
Yeah, and almost everybody, without exception, has a slightly healthier take on it,
Are they like the Breakfast Club kids are in there too, or
yeah? No? I mean, that's part of the whole scene. It was like in the doc, he had like Emilio Estevez, Rob Lowe, Demi Moore, Leah, a few people who are sort of outside it, like John Cryer and Leah Thompson and Timothy Hutton. It was. It would have been fine if it was like a half hour.
Yes.
But it, just because you kind of like to check in on these people about that moment in time. But for most of them, it was a moment in time, and for him, it was like the day the earth stood still. It was like when time stopped for him. And it sort of started to feel like, the guy who couldn't get over the band breaking up, or even though none of them were friends. Like once this happened, they all ran from each other because they didn't want to be associated. They didn't want to back it up. Yeah.
Right.
So it was, and he hadn't talked to most of these people in 30 years, which kind of speaks to how much fun he was.
He still got him though
he got most of them. Yeah. He got most of them. Some of them didn't really want to talk about it, but, then you look like Rob Lowe, it's like he had a sex tape and the fucking Snow White thing on the Oscars. It's like the Brat Pack thing was probably perfectly fine for him when it comes.
What was the Snow White thing?
Remember when they did the Oscar hosting and he sang this duet with Snow White? And
I don't remember this at all.
It was like one of the great Oscar bombs of all time. So, it's for, if you're going for 80s nostalgia, all the way go with the We Are the World doc instead of.
Yes, that's the one you want. Do you want me to get upset about that again?
You shouldn't, because it's good. I like it.
No, but you remember how upset about it?
I do remember that. I do
that one day.
I
don't give a fuck.
I still can't handle it.
No, but that was related to an old beef. I've liked a lot of these things. Well, it's not the same thing that Robert Downey Jr. is doing something about his father as to him, Andrew McCarthy, zooming in on this particular part of his life.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there was a lot more emotional depth to the Downey thing, which I didn't love, but it was okay. Yeah.
I think I liked the Ethan Hawke thing. I don't remember what it was now. Ethan Hawke did a thing, I thought.
I vaguely know what you're talking about. And yeah.
There was this, did you ever see Waking Life?
But that was all like a Zoom doc, wasn't it? The Ethan Hawke thing? It was very pandemic.
Yes,
my
yes.
recollection.
It was during his, and what was it about?
I don't recall even anymore. I really don't recall.
He was getting all these people together, and they were all Zoom, so he had Ben Stiller and...
Yeah, a lot of, whatever. Well,
I thought
if
it was
only
his
we
father.
did letters still.
You say that. I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking, if we're losing sous vide, who next?
I don't know. Put a finger in the dike. We could do questions for a week.
What?
We could do questions for a week or something.
No, don't do that.
All right, okay.
Wait, okay.
I just want to let the record to show Andy's the problem.
Okay, so there's a part where you want to do questions again.
Oh, not this week because we're almost done.
Right, but next week you think, all right, you know what? Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it periodically.
All right.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Sure.
In what sense?
I don't know. You're already panicking. I don't want to do it.
Okay, killer.
The last thing
you got it, killer.
The last thing I saw on Weinstein Watches.
I like this name of this is going to take off.
I hope so.
Weinstein Watches.
Yeah, if I take the step and make the jingle, then you know.
I know that, but you used to love to make these jingles.
I did.
You used to love it.
I did. I saw the first chapter of the Paul Simon 2-part doc that Alex Gibney did. That was on MGM Plus, but is now on Amazon Prime.
And how was it?
It's good. It is good.
I'm going to have to watch that because he's like one of my heroes, and even though I don't like Gibney, is he interviewing him, Gibney?
Yeah, some.
Yeah,
but he's not. He's
but
also.
He didn't call him.
He's also
Craven.
he's also like a no. Give it up, man. That wasn't even Alex Gibney who called him Craven. It was someone else.
Yeah, it was. He did Scientology doc.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was him.
Okay.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's the dumbest fucking grudge I've ever heard of yours.
Really?
Yeah.
How about that?
And I don't love all his movies, but he is an accomplished and pretty good doc.
Yeah, he's good at what he does. Absolutely.
And he applies it especially well, I think, on this doc.
Yes. Cool. Wait, did I write it down? Oh, well, I know I'm going to see this because I know.
Yeah, you have enough facts to find it.
And how long was the first one?
It was like an hour and a half, and I think the second one's longer. The first one takes you through the Garfunkel years.
Great.
But it's not like a pure sequential biodoc, which is good. There's a lot of present day with the Seven Psalms thing. And
is he even talking? I mean, like the last thing I remember was Garfunkel said, "I only was like I felt bad for him because he was so short when he was in school." That's the type of things that Art Garfunkel has said over in recent years.
Yeah,
he said mean things about Paul. Do they deal with that at all?
And Paul has said mean things about him.
Yeah, I think they have trouble with each other.
Yeah, no, I mean, he basically winds up the first thing by saying, "Go from your best friend to a guy you never want to see again is a long journey." The one fun fact from that was that in arriving at the name Simon and Garfunkel, part of the problem was there was already another group named Art and Paul.
That's pretty amazing. What is the chat? Is that what they wanted to do at first?
I think that would have been first on their list.
Art and Paul. Oh, so in the original thing, he had him first. He had Art.
Well, they never went that way. So.
They never went that way, but maybe that's why. No, they went because another group.
He was Tom and Tom and Jerry too. So.
Right, and that was both of them, right?
Yes.
And that was just the name of them as a duo.
Yes.
This could have been like it's so weird. It could have been like in the 50s, right? When they started.
It was in the 50s. Yeah.
Oh my god! So he's like
at the Brill Building.
I think he's over 80 then, Paul. I think.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. How does his health look?
He looks like an old Jew.
He's an old
and
Jew.
He sounds like an old Jew now too.
And he's still married to Edie Brickell.
Watch the movie, Andy. Watch the movie.
This is the worst part of me. This is the worst part of me. You. It's nice of you to be able to bring up new things, and then I've got to like ask questions that are like all questions that are aimed at. He did like it. Did they say anything about Edie Brickell? Did they talk about who Julio was?
Let me tell you everything I know now, so I don't get accused of learning it from the doc.
You know, actually, Julio was not. He did know a Julio, but he did. He knew Ernest and Julio Gallo. That can't be their names. Ernest and Julio Gallo.
Yes.
So I'm going to be watching. So the thing is, I have no excuse not to watch something. And I told you the Pistorius thing is good.
Yeah, that I don't care about so much.
Really?
Yeah.
It's done well with ESPN Films and the whole thing.
Yeah.
They're 30 for 30 people. Don't you watch the 30 for 30?
I've watched a lot of 30 for 30s, yeah.
But that topic does not interest
me. Does not interest me that much. I know the story enough to not have to know more beats of it.
No, you'll love it. I mean, anybody, don't listen to Josh is what I'm saying. Don't listen to him.
No, don't. Please don't.
If people want to contact me on what I think about what Kindler, not Weinstein Watches, Kindler comments, Kindler
critiques with a K.
With a K? You know, I think both of us are very sarcastic people who have trouble being...
You think?
You know, we don't... Yes, and we don't have a thing where we, like, really check in with each other. How are you really? How am I really? That's what the show should be.
It should be.
How are you?
It should be. We can do that for the after show, maybe.
You know what I love about life is that Bill Maher... Two things I love is that Bill Maher thinks... He has a big show going on over there. His podcast, he just thinks it's the biggest show. And the Adventures of Rob Schneider, I think, are going to be, for as long as it lasts, are going to be so delightful.
Yeah.
He has the hat. He always goes with the 40s hat. And he is just absolutely says the worst things over and over. And he goes, if he had slapped someone, did we talk about this, Ray?
No.
If he had slapped someone at the Academy Awards, they would have put him in jail. He's sick of this political correctness thing. Yes.
Yes. You wouldn't have been about to win the best actor that night.
Yeah, and people are saying he wouldn't have even gotten into the Academy Award. But just this thing is like, he's so knee-jerk MAGA now.
Yes.
You really think that they would have, because he was black, they didn't arrest him and drag him to jail? I mean, I don't know why you liked his copy guy a lot.
But you have to notice that over the last 5 years, the only Rob Schneider news you see is Rob Schneider said another fucked up thing. So you can see why he does it.
Yeah, in Edmonton. I guess he got asked to leave in Edmonton. And don't you think at some point Adam Sandler's going to pull the plug on him?
No, I do not.
But doesn't he? Oh,
Adam Sandler likes everybody.
Oh. That one made me sad because I did have a life that was missing Adam Sandler movies. Do you think I would have been I don't think I would have been a good sidekick.
No, you wouldn't have.
I wouldn't have been good trying to outmaneuver Alan Covert.
I just love how you believe that you were like someone took your spot in that group. Like that, you really believe that was your alternate history.
Yeah, that's yeah. That's all related in the fact that I came out, I started with Judd and all these people and Adam Sandler. So somehow I wanted to be liked by Adam Sandler, but then by that time it was ridiculous. But I know what you're saying. What you're saying is, when are you going to let anything go? Be nice to let something go.
Yeah, that's a good one. That would be a great one to let go.
I'm not still mad at my rabbi for censoring me, my original speech.
Yeah.
Well,
what were you speaking out about? I can't recall.
But you wrote your own original
you were too
thing,
sticky.
and I said
you were too sticky.
No, I said it doesn't matter whether you're black or white, rich or poor, as long as you're Jewish.
Yeah.
And then he changed it to as long as you're a good person.
That's a if you can't get away with a Jew promoting joke in a synagogue,
what's the point?
You wrote it wrong. I
probably wrote it wrong. I should have done it with him like they used to do on Saturday Night Live. I would pitch things that I knew weren't going to, he wouldn't have gone
Right,
with.
you give them one so that you can, it's covered.
Okay, I pitch him. Yeah, I'll never forget the time my mom came down naked and I was 4. Oh, you don't want me to do that one?
I'll trade you.
Josh, we're at the end of our hour.
If you'd like to support Andy's lifestyle of grudges and bitterness, please go to buymeacoffee.com/thoughtspiral and keep us all afloat a little longer.
Wow. Or alternatively,
buy a Cameo.
What's a romper?